I turned up at the hotel where my cheating wife was waiting for her lover. Then I exposed her to everyone before moving away for a fresh start. I had always believed that my life was perfect. Sarah and I had been together since we were teenagers, and our love had carried us through every phase of life. From high school dances to college struggles, we had been inseparable. When we got married 5 years ago, I thought our story was a kind that people dreamed about, a love so strong that nothing could ever shake it. But I was wrong. It started gradually, so subtly that I almost didn't notice. When Sarah landed her new job in marketing, I was so proud of her. She had worked hard to get where she was, and I had no doubt that she was going to excel. At first, everything seemed normal. She would come home excited, telling me about her projects and the new team she was working with. But then, something changed. She started mentioning her boss, Adam, more often. At first, it was in passing, small compliments about how intelligent he was, how much she was learning from him. But soon, his name became a regular feature in our conversations, more than I was comfortable with. Adam said I have real potential, she'd say. Oh, Adam thinks I should take on a leadership role. Her admiration for him grew into something different. I could feel it. It was in the way she suddenly became protective of her phone, the way she started dressing differently for work, putting in extra effort with her makeup and hair. She was working late more often too, sometimes not coming home until midnight. When I asked, she always had a reasonable explanation, but there was an emptiness in her words. One night, she came home later than usual, her face flushed, her eyes avoiding mine. "Long day?" I asked, forcing a smile. "Yeah," she muttered, kicking off her heels. "Exhausting." She disappeared into the bedroom without another word. My stomach twisted with unease. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't want to be the paranoid husband who accused his wife of things without proof. Still, doubt was a slow poison, eating away at me day by day. Then there was the phone. She never left it unattended anymore. She would take it to the bathroom, keep it under her pillow at night, and get anxious if I was anywhere near it. One night, she fell asleep with it still clutched in her hand. That was when I knew I had to look. My hands were shaking as I carefully took her phone and unlocked it. My heart pounded in my chest as I navigated to her messages. And there it was, the undeniable truth. Messages between Sarah and Adam, some playful, some romantic, but all damning. They had been seeing each other behind my back. She told him she loved him. They made plans, sneaking around under the guise of work meetings. The worst part? A message from her, confirming a hotel room booking for the next evening. "Sarah, can't wait to see you tomorrow. Room 506 at the Grand Hotel. I'll be waiting, winking face." I stared at the screen, my entire world crumbling. My hands clenched into fists. She was planning to meet him, to betray me yet again. I wasn't going to let that happen. Heartbreak, disbelief. I booked a room on the same floor and waited. At exactly 7 p.m., Sarah arrived. She didn't see me. I watched from a distance as she walked into room 506, carrying a small overnight bag. My stomach churned at the sight of her so effortlessly walking into a room to cheat on me. I counted the seconds, letting her get comfortable. Then I walked to the door and knocked. "You're early," she said playfully as she swung the door open, dressed in nothing but red lingerie. Her face drained of color, the moment she saw me standing there instead of Adam. "What the hell?" she whispered, stumbling backward. "What are you doing here? Shouldn't I be asking you that?" I said coldly, stepping inside and shutting the door behind me. Tears filled her eyes, but I didn't care. I tossed her phone onto the bed, the incriminating texts open for her to see. "Explain this, Sarah," I demanded. She stammered, shaking her head. "It's not what you think." I laughed bitterly. "Really? Because it looks exactly like what I think." She collapsed onto the bed, burying her face in her hands. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I never meant to hurt you." But she did, and I wasn't about to let this go unnoticed. I had already taken screenshots of her messages and sent them to her company's HR department. An office affair with a superior was a serious violation, and I wasn't going to let them keep their secret any longer. Within hours, the news had spread. Her reputation crumbled, and Adam was fired for inappropriate workplace conduct. Sarah begged me to reconsider, pleaded with me not to destroy her career, but she had already destroyed our marriage. There was no coming back from this. When she returned home, the reality of the situation hit her like a tidal wave. She screamed, cried, begged for forgiveness. But I couldn't even look at her without feeling sick. I filed for divorce and left everything behind. The house, the memories, all of it. I packed up and moved to another state, requesting a transfer at my job to get a true fresh start. It wasn't easy, but with each passing day, the weight of betrayal lifted little by little. One day, Sarah tried to call me, leaving a voicemail sobbing about how she had lost everything. I didn't reply. She had made her choice. Now she had to live with it. When I look back, I sometimes have doubts about whether I took things too far, as I had definitely let the emotions get the better of me. But at the same time, I don't deserve to have my life ruined over Sarah's selfish desires. Starting over wasn't easy. The loneliness was overwhelming at times, and the ghosts of my past haunted me in quiet moments. I threw myself into work, trying to rebuild what I had lost. I found a therapist, someone to help me process the anger and betrayal. I met new people, made friends who didn't know me as Sarah's husband. For the first time in years, I focused on myself, on my own happiness, my own ambitions. I learned to enjoy the freedom of making decisions for myself, without worrying about someone else's deceit. Months passed, and then a year. One day, I found myself smiling without effort. The pain didn't define me anymore. I had survived, and more than that, I had grown. Sarah had taken my past, but she would never take my future. I was free. On to the next story. My girlfriend asked to open our relationship so that she can have her needs met while I was recovering from a serious injury. What she didn't know was that I was quietly planning my exit. I always believed that Emma and I had something unbreakable. 3 years together, and our relationship was a kind people envied, full of passion, laughter, and a connection that ran deeper than words. We were that couple who barely spent a night apart, whose hands always found each other in a crowded room, who never hesitated to express our love both physically and emotionally. But love, I've learned it, isn't tested in the easy times. It's when life throws you into the fire that you see what truly remains. Before the accident, life was perfect, or at least it felt that way. Emma and I had a rhythm, a chemistry that felt effortless. We met in college, where she was studying graphic design, and I was on my way to becoming a software engineer. She had this energy about her, a magnetic pull that made me feel like the luckiest guy alive. We spent weekends wrapped up in each other, binging bad TV shows, traveling when we could, and sneaking out in the middle of the night just to sit by the lake and talk about everything and nothing. Snowboarding was my escape, my thrill, and Emma always supported me in her own way. She wasn't the type to strap on a board herself, but she loved watching me. She'd cheer from the bottom of the slopes, capturing my best moments on her phone, always ready with a hug whether I landed a trick or crashed trying. I thought we were untouchable, but in hindsight, I wonder if I was just blind. That day was supposed to be like any other. I was out with my friends at the slopes, the air crisp, the snow perfect. I had done this jump 100 times before. But that day, something went wrong. Maybe I miscalculated. Maybe the wind caught me off guard. All I knew was that midair, I lost control. When I hit the ground, a sickening crunch echoed through my body. Pain, sharp and immediate, shot up my spine. My vision blurred, my ears rang, and the world around me faded as my friends rushed toward me, shouting my name. The next thing I knew, I was in a hospital bed, staring at a ceiling I would come to know too well. The doctors told me it could have been worse. The spinal injury was serious, but with time and rehab, I could recover. Still, I was bedridden for the foreseeable future, and even when I could move again, snowboarding was off the table for a long time. Emma was there, holding my hand through it all. She reassured me that we'd get through this together, that she would be by my side no matter what. I clung to those words. I needed them more than anything. The first month was hell. The pain, the immobility, the crushing weight of dependence. I had to rely on Emma for almost everything. She helped me eat, shower, even get out of bed when I needed to. She never complained, never hesitated. If she was struggling, she didn't show it. At first, this wasn't easy for her either. But then came the nights where she didn't come home at all. I told myself not to overthink it. She was stressed, overwhelmed. I couldn't be the burden that made her life miserable. Then, one night, as she sat on the edge of our bed, her face tense, she said it. "I've been thinking." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "This situation, it's really hard, and I feel like I'm losing a part of myself." I frowned, confused. "What do you mean?" She hesitated before finally sighing. "We haven't been intimate in over a month." My stomach twisted. "Emma, I physically can't." I know, she said quickly. "And I hate that I feel this way, but I have needs too, and I don't know how much longer I can go without them being met." Silence stretched between us. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "So, what are you saying?" My voice was barely above a whisper. I think we should open our relationship, she said, not meeting my eyes. Just while you're recovering. It wouldn't mean anything. It's just, I need this, and I don't want to resent you for it. The words hit like a gut punch. I stared at her, my mind reeling. This was a woman who had promised to stand by me no matter what. And now, because I was broken, because I couldn't give her what she wanted permission to find it elsewhere. I didn't answer that night. I just told her I needed time to think. I reached out to my closest friends, asking for their perspectives. Some tried to play devil's advocate. Maybe she was just struggling. Maybe I should consider it if it helped her cope. But others saw it for what it was, a betrayal waiting to happen. If she truly loved you, my best friend Josh said, she wouldn't even be asking this. She'd be more worried about you, not about herself. Deep down, I already knew the answer. I was just too scared to face it. After a lot of thinking, I made a decision. I looked at Emma and nodded. Fine, we can open the relationship. She blinked, surprised. Really? Yes. My voice was calm, measured, but on one condition, you still take care of me during my recovery. She hesitated for a moment before agreeing. Of course, I'd never abandon you. What she didn't realize was that I had my own plan. I wasn't agreeing because I was okay with it. I was ensuring that she would stay until I no longer needed her help. The moment I could walk on my own, I was done. Months passed, and I played my role. I let her believe she had my permission, but I made sure to track my progress, to push through the pain. Every milestone brought me closer to independence, and every step made me resent her more. I also made sure to gather evidence, texts, conversations, everything she said about her new flings. If she ever tried to play the victim later, I wanted proof of who she really was. When the day finally came and I could stand on my own, I didn't waste time. I packed my bags while Emma was out, leaving behind a letter. I wrote, Emma, I let you believe that I was okay with this, but I never was. I just needed time to heal, and now that I have, I no longer need you, just like you no longer needed me when I was at my lowest. Consider this the closure you never gave me. I deserve someone who truly stands by me, not just when it's easy. Goodbye. I turned off my phone, got into my car, and drove away. For the first time in months, I felt free. Emma tried to reach out, sending frantic messages and voicemails, but I never responded. She had made her choice, and now I had made mine. I focused on my recovery, my career, and myself. I moved to a new city, a fresh start where I didn't have to be haunted by memories of betrayal. And when I finally looked back, I felt nothing but relief. I had lost Emma, but I had regained something much more important, myself. What did you think of these stories? Let me know your thoughts about them in the comments, and thanks for listening.